Okay fellas, so today's conditioning workout is a rounds for time workout, and what that means is you can have a set amount of rounds to do in the shortest amount of time. So you're going to have 4 exercises. You do 10 reps on each exercise without any rest, okay? So that's 1 complete round. You're then going to do 8 rounds of that in the shortest amount of time. Okay fellas, the time cap for this workout is 19 minutes. So the idea being, first and foremost, to get under the time cap, but secondly, to go as quick as you can. Okay fellas, here are the exercises. Okay, so this is our technique and progressions for press ups. So the first option is on the knees. I'll show you from the side. So we're on the knees, hands are shoulder width apart, okay, body's nice and straight. As we lower down, the elbows stay tight to the body and the body goes down completely straight. Okay, so we're not hinging at the hips at all. It's a straight line from the shoulder all the way down to my knees, and we're up and down, keeping the elbows tucked in nice and tight. Okay, the next progression up is to go onto the toes. So technique points are the same, hands are shoulder width apart. This time we're on the toes, body is completely straight, and as we come down, again, elbows stay tucked in, and we go up and down as one straight unit. Okay, so the next progression up from that is a shoulder tap. From here, okay, technique points are the same, hands are shoulder width apart. We're going to go down, as we come up, tap the opposite shoulder, down, tap the opposite shoulder. I'll show you that one from the front as well. So from here, we're down into that press up. As we come up, we tap and tap. Okay, the key with the shoulder tap is to keep your body as still as possible during the shoulder tap. It's really challenging to stop you swaying too much side to side. Okay, really tough work on the core. So those are our progressions and our techniques for press ups. Okay, so this is our technique and progressions for kettlebell swing. So the first thing to say with a kettlebell swing is it will look like a squat and a raise with the arms. It's not that at all. It's a swinging action and it all comes from the hips. So just keep that in mind throughout, that all of this movement is coming from the drive of the hips and it's not coming from a lift of the arms. So with that in mind, let's look at the technique. So for kettlebell swing, the setup is slightly wider than a squat, so just widen the shoulder width apart with the feet. We're going to grip the kettlebell lightly with the fingers, so we're not over gripping it, just lightly with the fingers with the arms straight. So I'll show you from the side what we're going to do. First movement is just pressing the hips back and swinging it out, just to get a little bit of movement in the kettlebell. And then when you feel ready, you're going to drive the hips forward forcefully. Forward with the hips and back. So all the movement is coming from my hips, driving forwards, okay, and at the top, hopefully you can see that very sharp movement. It's called the hip snap. It's like a full stop to the movement. It should feel sharp and definite at the end of the movement. That hip snap comes from clenching the glutes hard, pushing the hips through hard, okay? So with the kettlebell swing, the key is to keep the arms loose. Shouldn't be gripping the kettlebell. Sit back and then drive through hard with the hips, making sure you're keeping your back nice and straight. Last thing we wish to do is this, okay? So back stays straight as we're driving through with the hips, and that is the technique for kettlebell swing. Okay, so this is our technique and progression for squats. So the setup for squats is feet shoulder width apart, toes slightly turning out. For our bodyweight version, we're going to have our hands across our shoulders here, okay? The movement is initiated by pressing the hips back. That takes us down into the squat. We then bend the knees. So from here, we press the hips back, bend the knees and down we go, and drive back up. So hips back, bend the knees, drive back up. From the side, I'll show you that. From here, first movement is hips back, down into that squat. Always from the hips. Okay, so the main points with a squat are, make sure the weight's in the heels of your feet, make sure your chest is up throughout, and make sure your knees are tracking outwards instead of rolling inwards. Okay, so just to show you that, chest is up, okay, weight's in the heels of my feet, knees are moving outwards as I go down into that squat. So that's our bodyweight version. The next progression up from that is use 1 kettlebell. So we take the kettlebell, hold it tight into the chest. Technique points remain the same. So weight in the heels, chest up, knees tracking out as we go down into that squat. Okay, very important to keep your chest up as you squat, so you're not rolling forward with that weight. From the side, you'll see the same, chest is up, weight is in the heels, knees are tracking out to the side. Okay, so that's our single kettlebell progression there. The next progression up is to go to sandbag, so go to one sandbag, grab it in the corners, bring it up, technique points remain the same, elbows are high, we go down into that squat with weight in the heels. That's our sandbag progression. I'll show you from the side. Elbows are high, weight is in the heels of the feet. That's our sandbag progression. The next progression up from there is go double loaded with kettlebells. So we bring the kettlebells up, rest them in the crooks of the arms. Technique points are the same, chest up, weight in the heels, knees tracking outwards as we go down into that squat. Try and keep the hands nice and close together. And I'll show you from the side. Chest up, weight in the heels, knees tracking out. That is our double kettlebell squat. Okay, so those are the technique and the progression for squats. Okay, so this is our technique and progression for burpees. So first option, I'll show you from the side, it's probably easier. Start from a standing position, we're going to drop our chest down to the floor, come back in, stand up straight. Okay, I'll show you one more time. Stand up straight. That's a very basic version of a burpee, no jump or clap above the head. Second version, the second progression, is to add the jump and the clap in. So we go down, chest down, in, jump and clap to complete. And again, down, in, jump and clap to complete. Okay, so there are burpee versions. If for either one of those versions you need to modify it slightly, so getting down to the floor just to suit your own flexibility, you can step yourself down, that's absolutely fine, and then step yourself back up to complete the movement. So there's a little bit of sort of individual play there. You can just decide which is the one that suits you best. So those are our techniques and progressions for burpees.